You might as well start your Saturday with a little snack-sized DFS, everyone. I'm Dan Bespris, just here to introduce the program and tell you about our amazing partners at Bet Online. Again, we would not be able to do all the things we're doing right now without their continued partnership. So check them out. They're the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, Bet Online is your ultimate game day companion, featuring the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA and college basketball, NHL, UFC. Coming up soon, it's baseball time. You got props, you got in-game betting, you got all sorts of fun stuff you can get down on, from every three-pointer to hat trick and right around back again. Bet Online has you covered on odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. Bet Online, the game starts here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you get all of our DFS content, all of our full season NBA content, all of our baseball fantasy draft season content, all of our specialist shows, and more. We have really cool stuff coming in the NBA off season that I can't just quite tell you about yet, but I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a massive jump in what we're able to do here at Old Man Squad. So make sure to subscribe so you get those. Check out Brenton at Terrain72, and he has a show for you coming up right now.
Thanks, Dan Bespris. As always, welcome to another episode of Snack Size DFS. My name's Brenton Eckersley, your host. This is Snack Size DFS for Saturday, February the 22nd, 2025. It's a cute little card here. DraftKings have taken the Phoenix-Chicago game, which is an early game, and removed that from the main slate in an already small day of only 5 games. So we have only 4 games to look at here. That can actually be slightly more difficult to try and find value around the teams, but we will do the best we can. I've run through all the names. As you hopefully know, this is basically an entree to the Saturday DraftKings slate. I record early here. It's nearly a full 24 hours beforehand. So we will be looking at the news, watching the news closely. There are a few things to look out for here, especially Utah playing on a back-to-back. So let's get into it anyway. Here are your game notes. Saturday, February the 22nd. Fast game. There's only one of each here. We've got a quick game here for the Lakers taking on Denver. That's been listed at 242 game total, and the slower one for the day will be Brooklyn taking on Philly in Philly, 213 game total. The other 2 games are around the 220 mark. The pace bump here, there's only really one now that they've removed Phoenix out, the Phoenix-Chicago game out of the card. It's the Lakers taking on Denver. Again, the Lakers will be getting the pace bump there in the fastest game of the day. Attack and stack, there they are again. It's the Lakers taking on Denver. Denver fast. Denver giving up plenty of fantasy points pretty much all season. Houston taking on Utah. We know that we can attack and stack Utah whenever they are playing. And we'll have to see what happens with those guys on the back-to-back. Anything could happen with this Jazz team at the moment. So as you can see, I've dug a little deeper here today, tried to bring you some more names where I thought they were relevant. The first game of the day, Brooklyn taking on Philly. As mentioned, this will be a slow game. So if you're tossing up between a couple of different guys in different games, sometimes that pace factor can be the thing that makes your determining decision. For the Nets, Claxton will be in for this game. No back-to-backs here, by the way. D'Angelo Russell has been ruled out, which is going to open some space here for people. Cam Thomas, still out. Noah Clowney, still out. So, for the Nets, Keon Johnson, I like it now that D'Angelo Russell is not going to be there. 5,200, that is a price jump. But he did have 30 minutes versus Philly and only 22 DK points, so just keep that in mind. Russell is out of the way here, so that should open up a lot more field goal attempts and other peripheral stats for Keon Johnson. Killian Hayes, back from the dead, 3,600. He did come in and immediately played 22 minutes in his debut. So with Russell out of the way, Killian Hayes as a point guard, he's probably going to see maybe 26 minutes here. Let's see what happened. He only had 12 DK points. He's not the best DFS guy, more of a season-long kind of guy who can rack up some assists and steals. But 3,600, he'll be a pinata play. We do have some high-priced guys on the board, so we've got to find value somewhere. Cam Johnson, again, D'Angelo Russell's out. Yep, different positions, but usage will go to Cam Johnson as long as he plays here. There's no news on him not playing, so we expect him to be in at this point. 5,700, that's a price drop. As I said, no D'Angelo. The usage will be there, and he did drop 35 versus Philly earlier in the season anyway. Just a note on Nick Claxton here at 5,400. That's a big price drop. He had 32 minutes and 41 DK points versus Philly. Just keep in mind that Embiid did not play in that game. So that is a fairly big difference in opposing centers. On the 76ers side of things, Joel Embiid, 9,400. That's a big price drop. It's a great price for Embiid, to be honest. And so we could see this get blown through quite easily. Embiid's always going to be an injury risk. His minutes should be up. There's no back-to-back, so I don't see any reason why he's not getting 33 minutes plus here. 9,400 is a great price for Joel. Paul George, oh man, it's so tough at the moment. He's just not getting things done, but like you see that price for next to Paul George's name of 6,900. It's really hard to ignore. He's going to be a GPP play. This might be the cheapest we see Paul George all season. Quentin Grimes is the last guy here for the 76ers for me, 5,100. His minutes are still high. He has some bouncing around DK scores for sure, 32, then 54, and then back to 24. And the other guy there, just to note, is Oubre at 5,700. I like both of these guys when one of the big three, Maxey, PG, or Embiid, is out. But both of them are probably in play. Not my favourite guys, and they don't make my favourite plays. Just worth mentioning. The Los Angeles Lakers taking on Denver in the Mile High City. Big pace bump here for the Lakers. Fast game total, well, I've forgotten to put the icon in there, but it was 242 off the top of my head. So that's when I like to look at high price guys, especially on the Lakers team here. They're going to get that big pace bump. Denver give up fantasy points everywhere. So talking about LeBron James, 10-3, and Luka Doncic, 10-6. Yeah, they're the high price guys here. Both of them capable of anything. LeBron's always going to be on my board because you just can't count him out. He has been beating this just recently with 49 and 58 DK points. But this is a pace bump. And as I said, Denver are certainly a team that we can target for fantasy points. Luka himself, 10-6. Minutes restriction is gone. I was worried about that when they did say it was being lifted. I thought it could be still under 30 minutes, but he was straight up to 33 minutes versus Charlotte. So this is in play. He had a poor shooting night, 5 of 18 versus Charlotte in that one. Still working some rust out. Can you play him? Yeah, sure. I probably prefer LeBron, to be honest, and you can also use Luka as a GPP play if you need to. A note on Austin Reeves, 8,200. Whoa, 27 minutes with Luka's minutes pushing right up. 9 field goal attempts also. Bad news. So I'm going to leave Austin Reeves out here until we see things settle down a little bit more or his price drop. Denver Nuggets themselves. Did I mention ins and outs? I did not, sorry. Luka and LeBron, both probable, and there is no back-to-back here. Jared Vanderbilt is listed in. He's not really relevant for us in this format. Moving on to the Denver Nuggets, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, both probable, and Peyton Watson remains out. Nicola, it's the same thing here. So 12-2, this is actually a price drop. Dude's very good at basketball. It's a price drop after 71 versus Charlotte. Lol. So he is absolutely playable here. Is he my favourite guy? Let's have a look at the favourite plays in the last slide and we'll work out who I think my high price guy of the night is. Jamal Murray, 7,600. He's going to be a GPP play as well. We have to find value. We have to find mid-range guys and lower price guys with some of the biggest names in basketball and the highest prices on the board tonight. He's going to be a GPP play for me. Good upside though, you can see there. He does bounce around a little bit. That 74 DK point game I'm not expecting, but if we can get closer to the 40s, 42, 49 and 47 in amongst those last 6, that will do us just fine. Notes on Christian Brown and Michael Porter Jr. 6K and 6.2 respectively. Westbrook's back. And I noted in the last one that Westbrook was back, and I was not really interested in either of these guys, and we saw it. Christian Braun, 9 field goal attempts versus Charlotte, not good. MPJ, 11 field goal attempts after some big shooting nights. So I think that's fairly justified. Westbrook back messes with the Nuggets roster in terms of some of these other guys, and I'll be leaving them out here. Here we go with some back-to-backs. The Rockets taking on the Jazz in Utah. For the Rockets, Jabari Smith Jr. is back, and that's going to throw some spanners in the works for guys like Amen Thompson, who you can see is not on my board here because of that. Eason is in on Friday, so this is a Friday, Saturday back-to-back. We absolutely have to watch the news for this game for both teams. It's very unlikely that either of those guys actually play in the back-to-back. Eason's been sitting back-to-backs. This is Jabari's first game back in some time. So we probably expect them both not to play here in the Saturday back-to-back, part of the back-to-back. Let's watch the news and see. Fred VanVleet remains out. For Houston, I really like Jalen Green here. 7,200. This is versus Utah. They're a team that just gives up fantasy points very, very easily. And also, they are top of the board for the shooting guard position. Fantasy points given up everywhere, but very, very high at both shooting guard and point guard. So Jalen Green's an awesome play for me here. I really like it. Not many people are going to be thinking of him with some of the big names on the board. I think Jalen Green's an awesome play tomorrow, Saturday. Dylan Brooks, 4,900. Again, Pinata play versus Utah, and I only really like this if Jabari Smith and Eason both sit. That'll just mean more minutes and more field goal attempts for Dylan Brooks. Yeah, he's a yo-yo kind of DK scorer. It's versus Utah. He could have 35 to 40 DK points here fairly easily. It's a Pinata play. Aaron Holiday, now interestingly here, $3,400 for him. He's had 27 and 37 minutes in the last two. VanVleet's been out for a little while, and it wasn't Holiday getting those kind of minutes, but the last two, that could be a sway towards him to keep those minutes while VanVleet is out. Just keep in mind that VanVleet is out for the Friday. He may come back in on Saturday, but I think it was reported only about 10 minutes ago that it's more likely that he doesn't play. So, back to Holiday. He had 17 DK points, but then 43 DK points with a 37-minute game. So, he also took 20 field goal attempts in that game. That's very high. Again, I like this with VanVleet out if he's out, and definitely I like it more with some of the other bigger names like Jabari Smith Jr. and Eason if they sit as well. Last note on Aaron Holiday, if Houston happen to blow the living crap out of Utah here, which is highly possible, then Aaron Holiday's minutes are going to be nice and secure, and he could get 30 plus again. That's enough talking about Aaron Holiday, for goodness sake. On to the Utah Jazz. We have Jordan Clarkson and Walker Kessler in on the Friday section of this back-to-back. Watch the news. Colin Sexton is out for the Friday game. We don't know whether he's going to be even available for the Saturday game. There's been no real news on him lately. It's a back-to-back, so we're going to have to watch the two guys above Jordan Clarkson, Walker Kessler, and we're also going to have to watch Larry Markkinen and John Collins, who have sat back-to-backs on the regular. I think both of those guys played the last back-to-back, which was kind of strange. So please watch the news. Please watch the news. Into some names here. Isaiah Collier, 6K, could have a little upside here. He's only facing Holiday rather than Fred VanVleet, so I don't mind the price. Probably not my favourite guy, but again, we've got to find mid-price guys here, and if we're going to land at a point guard around that 6K price, then Collier's a pretty good bet. Walker Kessler, as I mentioned, back-to-back, pretty unlikely he plays, but 6,700 will be too cheap if he does play. Jordan Clarkson, he's going to be a Pinata play at 6,400 again, back-to-back. He's playing the Friday. Is he going to play the Saturday? He's probably more of a dart throw if he does. Kyle Filipowski, really interesting. This is for me, this is only if we have those outs on the back-to-back. For the big men of the Utah Jazz, 5,100 is a nice price for a guy who just dropped 37 minutes versus the Clippers. It's going to be a Pinata play, but he's certainly in the conversation. If Markkinen, if Collins, if Kessler, if guys like this sit, then there's going to be minutes at the 4 and 5 for Filipowski, hopefully. Last game, Charlotte versus Portland Trail Blazers. For the Charlotte Hornets, LaMelo Ball Mark Williams both ruled probable. Actually, I believe that they were both upgraded to off the injury report for this game just before I hit record, so that's good news. Okogie, questionable. LaMelo Ball at 9,600. He's just going to be a GPP play here for me, away from the LeBrons and Lucas of the world. The Nikola Jokic higher price guy. He's going to be a swing kind of guy. Contrarian play, I guess you'd call him. Portland have been tougher to play against lately, so he is a GPP play for me here only. Musa Diabate, 4,900, came off the bench in the last one, but still racked up 29 minutes. He had a pretty bad shooting night from memory for in the last game. 4,900 is a decent price for a guy who does have 30 to 35 DK point upside. Nurkic obviously messes with the stew a little bit, but I'm pretty confident that Diabate is going to get that minutes locked in rather than Nurkic. Nick Smith Jr., oh wow, $4,580. I'm pretty sure that is meant to be $4,800. He had a little price jump since the last game. This is only for me if LaMelo sits. Dude hasn't been getting it done really anyway. It's just a name to mention. If LaMelo can't go, he would be a dart throw pinata play. On the Trailblazers side of things, no real injury report to mention except that Matisse Thybulle is still out. Anthony Simons, 6,500, again, a contrarian play, GPP play here. His DK points are, as I've mentioned, they're almost exclusively tied to his field goal percentage. So his rebounding is not very high. He's a guard, it's pretty obvious. But his assists sit around the same mark most games, and he rarely gets defensive stats. So it comes down to, do you think that Anthony Simons can hit shots versus Charlotte? Then play him at 6,500 because he does have 40-point DK upside. Danny Avdia, 6,100, yo-yo scoring, big one in the last game, 44 DK points. You can see the scoring there, bouncing anywhere from 20 to 45 DK points. Pinata play for me. And then we've now got this issue with Donovan Clingan and Robert Williams at the centre position. Season-long fantasy, all the talk was go grab Donovan Clingan when DeAndre Ayton went down. Clingan at 5,300 only played about 15 minutes in the last game, even though he started. It was Robert Williams who came in over the top and played 20 plus. I'm going to avoid both of these guys for the moment. 5,300 for Clingan, 3,900 for Robert Williams is much more enticing to me rather than the 5,300 price for Clingan. But we just don't know what we're going to get until the centre position settles down and they work out which guy they want to play here. That's it for 4 games. Favourite plays of the day. I love Embiid versus Brooklyn here. That should be a big score for him. Keon Johnson versus Philly back the other way. And Cam Johnson, 2 Johnsons versus Philly back the other way. The LeBron-Luka mid $10,000 pricing matchup. You can play either of these guys. You could potentially play both. We don't have a great amount of value on the board to do that though. Jokic, again, always in play. Marquee matchup versus the Lakers, well over 12k, but still pumping through those scores on a regular basis. Jamal Murray is also a great price. I think he was 7,600 versus the Lakers. I like that one. Jalen Green, honestly, one of my favourite plays here tonight. I just have a big feeling we get a big one from Jalen here versus Utah. Aaron Holiday at the bottom of the barrel for 3,400 versus Utah. And Walker Kessler is too cheap versus Houston if he plays the back-to-back. And that is it for me today. As I said, 4 games only, but we need to dive a little deeper into teams to find guys to fill out our rosters. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe, the Old Man Squad Network, and you can find me on the socials at Terrain72. It's back to Dan in the studio. We'll see you in a couple of days. This has been Snack Size DFS. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Brenton. Another outstanding snack size DFS in the hopper, getting you ready to tackle this Saturday card. It's not as big as the last couple, but that means that there are more important angles than usual. So whatever Brenton brings to you, you bring to your DFS card and take home some sweet, sweet victories. I can't possibly leave without reminding you to check out our pals at UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up today using promo code OLDMAN, OLDMAN, or just click the link in the show description. That's the easiest way to do it. To get $1,000 in deposit bonus cash unlocked, depending obviously on how much your initial deposit is, plus a free play. Plus, they've got odds rolling all the time. They've got a 50% odds boost running anytime Luka Doncic plays on the Lakers. That's a crazy thing, but that's available to you. You can throw that in your card and just make the odds a little bit better. UnderdogFantasy.com. Just pick higher or lower on a minimum of 2 names on your pick'em card, and you're off and running for your day. I won my last one. Finally won one after a couple of losses. But the nice thing is, because it's a 3x on just 2 names, if I lose a couple and then win one, I'm breaking even over that same exact span. And I've actually been very slowly climbing. I'm doing very low ticket cost here. So actually, maybe the lesson is I should be doing a little bit bigger because I'm slowly climbing after losing like the first couple. And I thought, well, I'm just going to blow through this real fast. Then I went small, and I've been kind of learning the game. We'll play together when we do our recap shows, the full season ones. You guys can play with me. But for this one, just take what Brenton told you and translate it into a couple of names on your Underdog card and take home a nice win. Again, Brenton is Terrain72 on social media. This is Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. I'm Dan, just here to tell you about the partners and to tell you about the show. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe. That's the big one. Hit that like button as well to help keep the show growing. We'll see you guys when we see you on the next Snack Size DFS. That's it. Goodbye.